This is Mr. B on Free Talk with Mr. B. This is Sunday, and I'm being reminded that it is Sunday, and we're here on Free Talk. All to you, young lady.
Yes, this is after missing Mr. B a lot for the last few weeks. We are back here on Free Talk with Mr. B, and we are very happy to have you on the show, Mr. B. Thank you so much for making it today. And along
My
with me,
pleasure.
yes, along with us is also Sister Mia from South Africa. Assalamu alaikum, sister. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, I'm doing well. And of course, yes, it is lovely to be joined with Mr. P again.
Excellent. So,
Thank you.
while yes, so as we were discussing on our last episode, we also had a special guest, if you guys remember, Miss Aisha Khan, who was talking about her food ATM and all her good work she was doing for the community. We had taken up the topic giving back to those who had wronged us, and she touched upon a little bit of how people used to stop her from doing what she was trying to do for the community, and ultimately, time those people realized that whatever they did was absolutely wrong, and that realization came to them, but it came late, but it did come to them. So yes, continuing with the same topic, that is giving back to those that wronged us. We are going to be discussing how it is for us to forgive, forget, and move on, or what exactly it is. So we have different perspectives, and there could be times where we want to forgive, but people are not allowing us to be our good self. So we'll hear from Mr. B, from Sister Mia, and I will share my perspective too. So I'd like to hear, Mr. B, in your book, what made you take this up as a nugget?
I know it's been a while since I've been on, and I'm over here in the Philippines, so I'm glad to be here with you and taking care of some current business. But it's the art of giving back talks about these different aspects of ways we give back, and as it came up, I would have to go and double check again, but it has to do uh, um, with the times like there's something else we can give back to. I'm stumbling because it's like you threw the most interesting question to me. What did I have in my own book? I should have looked it up. But the whole idea, of course, anyway, is it happens to us. And if we can't forgive and forget, then it's going to be a type of thing that you're saying, well, you're not giving back or you're being not true to form. It's a wonderful way of giving back, just like when we first discussed humility in giving back. And so it brings us to the point where we can say, hey, we think it's a form of giving back and giving you back a freedom or giving you back a willingness to not remember what you did to me or what was wrong to us or anything like that. It's something that's very necessary as a form of giving back. And I'm going to look it up real quick and remind you again too. I'll come back to that.
Sure, definitely. I have the book right here with me.
I don't have a
So,
copy. I have it electronically.
oh, okay, all right. So, just reminding everyone, the book definitely says that, giving back to those who have wronged us is humility, and humility in forgiving and moving on, and trying to neutralize the situation, or trying to help the other person to kind of, realize what they have done. And just otherwise, if you're just going to be holding on to whatever has happened, it's just going to hurt us. And the book says it is poison to be holding on to whatever it is. So, yes, however, what I feel is, there are two aspects to this. One, where we ought to just, yes, of course, forgive and move on and let the other person realize with time of what the person has done. However, there are times when people are hurting you once, twice, thrice, and they continue to do it without realization. So, what I feel is we should not be trusting someone who has let us down more than twice. And the first time is a warning, the second time is a lesson. And the third time, of course, you know that the person is actually taking advantage of what you've been doing for him or her. So that is pretty much what I feel. And the other aspect is, yes, We will forgive, we will forget and move on. But we should make a judicious choice between, who and when to forgive and who not to forgive. Or even if you're forgiven, we stop engaging with them and just let them be. So what do you have to say, Sister Mia?
Well, firstly, I have to say this is one topic that's very, very close to the heart because I think there's not a single person in this universe that hasn't had been wronged by
Yeah.
anybody. And I have to agree totally with what you're saying. However, I must say it's very easy for us to try to tell somebody forgive and forget.
Yes.
Forgiveness, I believe, totally is for you yourself. When somebody has wronged you, you forgiving that person is for you to be able to be free of whatever was wronged. Forgetting sometimes is where the problem comes in. Sometimes it's very, very difficult to just forget. And forgetting requires a lot of work and effort. It requires for you to have to deal with it and allow it for it to be put into file 13, and file 13 gets burnt off. But when we go back to the topic of today, which is giving back to those who have wronged us, the one key issue for me is remember you are each one, well, each one of us is here, and we're given our own lane, which is it's your race. You're running your own lane. If anybody has wronged you, sit back and ask yourself, what exactly has this person done to you? They've given you pain, they've created anguish, they've wronged you, they've created anger within you, all kinds of concepts that come up which have negative analogies to them. And you then have to analyze and think to yourself, am I wanting to become this negative because of what this person has done? Or am I going to try and reverse it within myself, which takes a little bit of effort, but actually wins me over because it makes me better? And how does it do that? It just allows you to, like we said like we're talking about the nugget, it allows you for you to grow in your humility because they have wronged you, yes, but you don't have to wrong in return. That does not work. That just creates a cycle of total negativities, which is what we try to avoid. So the one thing is for you to realize this is your lane, it's your race, you run your race. Somebody has wronged you in it, so be it. It's a lesson for you, it's a warning for you, and you have got to be able to have the awareness within you to see what are the signs of these things that you can try and avoid this from happening to you again. But the second thing that's key for you to understand is that if you are able to forgive, you are able to heal from within yourself, because the key is to grow you. Um, Obstacles are always going to happen. People are going to always try to hurt you for whatever their reason may be. But remember, and this is what I'm always telling people, I can't control what someone else is going to do. I can't control what someone else is going to say. I can't control what somebody else is going to feel about me, the rumors they're going to spread about me, how they're going to use or abuse me. But what I can take control of is myself. I can control me. I can control my reactions to all of these things. So let's focus on what I can control and what works for me. So that's just my take on this one.
Absolutely. And just I completely agree with you. And while we were just discussing this, I did see Miss Dedra join us. Hi, Miss Dedra. How are
Hi,
you?
Sister
Hi,
Dedra.
very well, thanks. Sorry I was late.
No worries. We are so glad that we all four could actually meet each other again on this episode. So,
Yeah, been a while.
yeah, it's been a while. So, yes, here we are. We are with the topic giving back to those who have wronged us. And what is your take on this?
Me? Yeah, well, look, Professor Mia said basically everything in a nutshell that I believed as well. I have experienced a lot of that in my life, actually. I mean, being, being a pioneer, lately I have been kind of giving this a thought, I recently traced the genealogy of my family tree, and I traced us all the way back to Scotland in 1501. And I
Oh,
actually found the ancestor that made the journey from Scotland to America, and fought in the American Revolution. And, you know, that, yeah, exactly. And where his grave is, you know, my ancestor.
Wow.
So the next time I go to America, I'll be sure to visit that, you know. And I'm thinking how hard it must have been for him to leave everything that he knew in Scotland, you know, to come to a new country where he knew no one and he knew very little about the customs. And you know, he had to start fresh and make a brand new life for himself. And then I realized, you know, I'm the same. I mean, you know, he and I, John James Stevenson and Dedra Stevenson, are on two different sides of the same spectrum. You know, I'm a pioneer that went this way, you know, to live in the Middle East and start a new, fresh life and everything. But sadly, I left behind, there were some bitter feelings, you know, that were left, you know, behind me. And, you know, at first there was bitter feelings both ways, but then I realized, you know, what good is that doing for anyone? I mean, especially me. You know, that's not doing anything for me except, like she said, I mean, putting negativity into my life. I mean, it's not that, I mean, if I'm miserable about it, or if I'm hurting about it, or if I'm angry at them about it, it doesn't do anything to them. Actually, it does nothing to them. You are not hurting the person you're angry at all by your anger. You're only hurting yourself. Actually, you're actually you're damaging your own psyche, your own soul. So you might as well let it go. Like, just put it behind you and just even make amends with that person, and you know, start fresh. Because, you know, as a pioneer, we know something about starting fresh, right? Starting new. So this is what I recommend. I mean, be a pioneer, you know, forge a new path, you know, an inspiring.
Yes, absolutely. And we were also discussing that, yes, it's absolutely right for us to kind of, you know, forgive and move forward and amend things and try to give our best of the opportunities to the other person to see what the mistake was. However, there are people who take advantage. So I'm playing your role today.
The devil's advocate, that's me.
Yes. So I just say that, you know, we should be careful, and we should stop trusting people if they continue to hurt us, if they continue to do what they're doing without any amount of realization, because that leads to taking advantage of what we've been doing for someone.
Right. Well, I agree, but you know, here's the thing. I mean, forgiving someone is not for them. It's for
Yeah.
you. You know, and
Yes.
it doesn't mean that you forgot. You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean you forgot.
You just
The memory
disengage.
is long. It doesn't
Yes.
mean they get to do it again. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. We
Right.
should just disengage with them and let them be where they are. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Wish them well, light and love, you know, masama.
And the saying is, the first time shame on you, the second time shame on me. And so it is
Exactly.
something we must use as caution. But there's an aspect of it that talks about people who have wronged us, and it's the benefit of the doubt. How do you guys see the term the benefit of the doubt?
Well, I think that maybe that means that someone who, I mean, in my case, I can say that I had an experience of someone who wronged me because he was told a lot of lies, you know, about me. He was told a lot of untruths. So basically, you never know if someone's they've had their mind poisoned against you by someone else. You know, you don't know what the circumstances were, you know, that caused them to act the way they did. So maybe they're not as guilty as you think. You know, maybe they were a victim themselves of something. You know, you might want to think about that sometimes. Or maybe it was in their upbringing. You know, there was something wrong in the way they were brought up in the first place, you know, or maybe they were bullied by friends or something. You know what they say, a bully often turns out to be a bully. You know, somebody who's being bullied turns out to bully somebody else because they just, you know, it's the only way they can kind of bring that full circle and achieve some sort of strange closure. Like an unhealthy closure would be them bullying another person. But if you look at, you know, maybe where they've come from, you might think, okay. And a little sympathy can be possible. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right. And then you can think, okay, well, you know, maybe they're not, it's not a pure maliciousness that's going on here. Maybe it's some sort of a result of abuse, you know?
Yes. Yes, could be. And it could be unintentional also, that the person has done whatever he or she has
Yeah.
done. And we could give the person the benefit of the doubt, yes, that he or she has been in a situation. And of course, like even our Prophet Muhammad says that, peace be upon him, saying, "Be good to those who are evil to you." So that yes, that on one hand means that we will continue to be good. We will try to understand the other person's situation. However, we will not um, allow them to continue to hurt us. We try to
No.
explain to them. Yes, we will try to explain to them that yes, this is wrong or whatever. But if you see that arrogance, that's no more a benefit of doubt. That's where
Right.
I would. That's where I
Okay.
would stop. Yeah.
Because
Exactly. No remorse. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if there's no remorse there, then yeah.
Mhm.
the reason, Sister Mia.
I just have a small different take on benefit of the doubt. Um, for me, benefit of the doubt is very closely linked to what I'm a field of what we call energy psychology. And that is that, yes, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I do agree with Sister Samina did say, we need to forgive and we need to move on, and we lead by example. But when we talk of benefit of the doubt, for me, it means, do I need to really waste my energies in creating a debate to prove myself when I know better? And
Mm,
benefit of the doubt for me means, let's just allow you to be. I'm not going to try and persuade you any further. I'm not going to try to defend myself any further. I'm just going to keep in my lane. I'm going to keep going with what I'm doing and what I feel is right within me. And you just keep doing what you feel you like doing, and I'm giving you that benefit. I'm giving you the benefit of doubting me, but I'm staying true to myself in the same way. So my
yeah.
psychology and energies of me are just going to remain my own because I know those are true. And I'm not going to, my benefit of the doubt I'm giving to you is just me allowing you the freedom to just be who you are while I'm allowing myself to forgive you for the wrong that you've done unto me. And I'm just moving forward. So that's my take on what benefit of the doubt would mean.
Mm,
Yeah.
right.
And the reason why I asked it is because it's in the mind of other people, they may not have done us wrong. Because in our minds, we do not know what is wrong to someone when it is not wrong to us. And when you have so many billions of humans, many, many of us have wronged many people without intentionally trying, without knowing, or without being in the mindset of the other person. And yet it's a provision. That's why we need a provision of forgiveness even before we do anything, especially us men. We need to be forgiven every given day, in the beginning of every day, because we're going to make a mistake in the eyes of our spouses and other people. And you're right, when you catch someone deliberately or mischievously or purposely doing something, you hold them to account. But the benefit of doubt says that person really did not mean to hurt you. They were just trying to get the job done. That person really was not trying to hurt you. They were trying to get from point A to point B. The person wasn't
Yeah.
trying to hurt you. They were just pursuing one of their goals or the group goals. But yet we do get hurt. And so
Mhm.
forgiving someone who was wronged us, sometimes you have to, because maybe the person does not even know or even understand what wrong means to you or me or whoever,
Right.
because they did not know what shoes we have been in, what footsteps we have followed, or what life experiences. And so that's why I bring up that point, because the
True.
the, the purpose, and I still couldn't find or open my book on this app, because sometimes I'm overseas and I have internet trouble and it wouldn't open it real fast. But along those lines, my thinking and my heartfelt feeling is all of us need a break, and that's why when someone steps on my foot, I said, sorry for placing my foot there, because the person
Oh,
the person didn't mean to. Most humans do not mean to offend others. But when you find out that the person, like some people think my kindness is weakness, when I have to show my strength by being defiant, I know when to, but I prefer
right.
to always show my kindness, because my kindness is strength, not weakness. It's a
Well, I
form of
think
strength. Yeah.
it's a strength to have such a positive attitude towards the world, though. Actually, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to look at the world and see the good in people before we see the evil, and actually count on the good being there. It's not that easy to do in today's world, when we hear and see, so many acts of injustice happening around us all the time. It takes a lot to keep our hearts from being damaged, by that, and expect people to be good, and hold them accountable to that too,
I
but
have to agree with Sister Dedra, but I do have to also add one little point, and that is some of us just do not want to actually see the bad in others. So even when there is
right.
something bad done unto us, we just want to kind of feel that we make excuses for that bad behavior because we really want to see good in the person. And then it becomes a repeat and a repeat. Then we get reminded that wait, this has been happening now way over and over and over, and that's when the sudden hits. The light hits you that wait, there's something wrong with this picture. I'm being wronged in this process more than once, and the pain just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. But that's exactly, that's the humanitarian in each one of us. We don't wish to see the bad in people. We wish to
No.
see the good in them. We wish for the bad in whatever we're seeing in someone else to always fade away, and yet sometimes that does not happen. And sometimes confrontation is not what takes that away. So when you go for, when you go into counseling or for therapy or whatever, and you find that most often you find that the person that hurts you the most is the one closest to you, and that's where it
Mm.
becomes very difficult for the forget and the forgive.
Well, I was
Yes.
just going to say what you said about it being hard to see the bad in people. I think that it's particularly hard to see that in people that you love. I mean, people that you're in contact with. I mean, maybe even in your own family or your friends. I mean, it's hard, right? I mean, to see
Yes.
something wrong in them, you want to see the good all the time. And we put on rose-colored glasses a little bit, right?
Yes, absolutely. And these conversations actually, put me into realization sometimes, just as Mr. B said, that we are all at that point, when we ourselves would have wronged someone without realizing what we're doing. But
Yeah.
thanks God that, maybe we have realized and then we have said a sorry or whatever it is. That's, like you said, I agree with you. It's the upbringing that helped us realize what it was. Otherwise, there are very, very few people who can actually, connect these dots right and say that, okay, this person could be doing this because of a particular reason. A mother must be shouting at her child because of her whatever broken relationship or whatever she's going through herself, and she's not realizing that every time she's giving that answer or she's doing a particular action on the child, that it's become a habit. It's habitual for her. But then,
Yeah,
she's not doing it intentionally. So probably
right.
that needs a completely different episode and a full discussion, I would say.
We could
So
certainly
likewise.
do that. I mean, honestly, we just watched on Netflix the Jeffrey Dahmer, story, and I mean the things that went into making a monster like that, and those families having to stand in court and confront the killer that did that to their loved ones. Can
Mhm.
you imagine having to forgive someone like that? you know, how hard that would be. But,
Yes.
you know, it's, dear God, I mean, but when you look back at his childhood, I mean, you can see just how easy it is for parents to screw up a kid,
Yes.
you know, and to create something like that, you know.
Yes.
So everybody has, I think people are generally born good, you know, but
Mhm.
there are a lot of factors, you know, that come along to, you know,
Yes.
to throw a
Circumstances.
monkey wrench in the machine, you know, somewhere. It all goes wrong.
Yes, completely agree with that. It's the circumstances which actually make the person in today's world. And unfortunately, no, everyone's just losing their patience day by day.
Yeah, it's hard to stay hopeful. That's why I said actually, and when you have a world of people, you know, doing these horrific things, it is actually courageous to keep
Yes.
your hope alive, you know, that there's more good than bad. And I think it's very important to emphasize that we want people to keep that, you know, as
Yes.
much as you can, preserve it and keep it, you know, but be aware, you know,
Mhm.
at the same time, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the message I think from Mr. B's free talk is what we've always been giving, that to be
Yeah.
positive, helpful, to
Be
give back.
positive.
Yes,
Yeah. Hopefully that's the message that everybody's taking away from these episodes.
absolutely.
That's
Yes.
what
At
we
least,
want, right?
Well,
Yeah.
yes,
they are all
yes,
different ways of giving back, and to give someone back a moment in time, a forgiveness moment in time, a benefit of the doubt moment in time is all giving back. No one says to keep doing it like if we are foolish. We're not idiots. We know when someone is really trying to
No.
hurt us. But again, we have 5 billion people in the world, and they're going to cross our paths ever so often. And we can
Mm.
forgive them if they have wronged us. Like somebody might ask
yes,
you why you cover your hair. You said, because I'm a Muslim. It's our culture and it's our religion and it's our beliefs. That's why. But if we got offended by it, is it because the person honestly didn't know? If someone reaches out to
Yeah.
touch your head covering, at least to pull it off, then they're asking for the punch in the face and something like that, and have, because
Or
because again, if they're wearing somebody's wearing something of that they adorn, whether it's pictures of their kids or their cat or whatever, we don't reach out and grab it, say, why are you wearing your cat? so
no,
so we know the
absolutely not.
difference, we know the wisdom. So this episode again about forgiving people that wronged us. People wrong us all the time by what they look at, what they say, what are their
Right.
gestures. And if that person had a squirmish on their face, it could be they're having gastrointestinal pains and you think they're actually
That's true.
skirmishing at you. So that's why we say we kind of still be giving back to people who have wronged us, because they wronged us, but they didn't know they did. And we didn't know they had a tummy ache. And so we felt wrong. And you should still be nice to that person,
Exactly.
you know? So it's just those kind of things we're talking about. And that's the majority of what goes on in
Mm.
the world. And so we wrap up this podcast saying, just be human a little bit, be kind, give back kindness, give back forgiveness. And that's the
Yeah.
angle we want to keep saying. All of these podcasts will continue to go down throughout the book in these different articles and titles like we do. We're almost wrapping up the year with them. But again, it's just to remind all of us, each other and the other listeners, that that's what we want you to hear. There's many, many ways to give back.
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely.
So thank you everyone for being on again. It's so nice to see you guys.
Oh, ditto.
Yes, same
Uh,
here.
any
Thank you
final
so
any
much for joining.
final wrap up, Sameena? Any
No,
final?
I think I'm just energized. I have recharged actually with this episode because I was really missing you guys. Yeah.
Same here, love.
So I have recharged, and it was much needed energy for me because I have a busy week ahead with 2 events coming up, inshallah.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. Well, good luck with those.
Okay, you guys take
Thank
care.
you.
Thanks.